Oh my god. So episode 2 of American Gods was even better than episode 1.
Oh my god, yes.
At least the opening was, I don't know.
Okay. The problem with episode 2 of American Gods was the opening, because nothing that they showed me after that could live up to the opening.
I don't think anything they're ever going to show you after that opening is ever going to be as good as that.
Anansi has been one of my favorite characters in this book forever.
Oh yeah.
He won me over in a scene that happens later on, and I really hope they do it like it happens in the book, where there's a big meeting and Anansi's like, hey, Wednesday, hey, let me go warm up the crowd for you. Hey, and Wednesday's like, just don't tell them a story. And Anansi walks to the front of the stage and he's like, I'm going to tell a story. Wednesday's in the back, just like... Anansi is a trickster god. He is a spider trickster god who I love.
And I very much love the way they do him in the book, because it's like a weird relationship, because Anansi in mythology is both a spider and a human. He is both at the same time. You have to kind of like just accept that duology in your head as you do it. So when they open this, it opens on a slave ship in the hold on the slaves, and they're all in chains, and there's just a spider sitting there waiting. And one of the guys is like, Anansi, like, we need help. Like, you're a god. We're fucking stuck in this hold. I don't know where my mother is. I will give you anything. I will tell your story for years. I will give you everything, but you need to get us out of here. And then all of a sudden, in walks human Anansi.
And he is wearing the most phenomenal purple suit. Just, it's very disconnecting, because he's dressed like something out of like a 40s or 50s movie. And so all of a sudden time is out the window.
What is going on? And he's got like a cane and a hat. And he makes the most epic, like...
poignant
speech that you have ever heard in your goddamn life. Like, just, you feel like you're just jaw-dropping. Like, he said, like, some of those lines, they're gonna stick with you forever.
Yeah.
He starts and he's like, hey, you're in this hold, and you know what? Your mother, she didn't want to sleep with those sailors, so they just threw her overboard. And you know what? You're fucked. You're all fucked. You're gonna be fucked for the next 300 years. And he starts going into all the different ways that they're going to be fucked through slavery and afterward. And the one line that stuck with me was, oh, you don't know you're black yet. You still think you're people. There's no way to describe it properly.
You don't even need to watch the show. You don't even have to finish the episode.
It works as his own like little like vignette.
Oh my god. And so he basically frees the slaves, and he's like, you are fucked, but you can go out with a bang.
You can make your death actually mean something.
And it's all basically a sacrifice for him. And so he survives the ship and makes it to America. It's his coming to America story. And just,
wow.
And so now I'm like, okay, give me more. Give me more of Annette. What do you mean he's not in the rest of the episode? Why did you do this to me? We go into the story and Shadow's just getting patched up. Like, we don't even touch on the fact of what happened in the last scene. We don't know who saved him. I guess he's in like Emerge, and then he leaves Emerge and he just goes to like Mr. Wednesday and he's like, hey, guess what? Someone just tried to lynch me.
Thanks.
What the fuck? And I met this child in a limo who said that he's gonna delete you.
Need anything?
And like Wednesday's just like, he's such an asshole.
So Wednesday manages to calm Shadow's like freak out, and he's like, listen, you know, you didn't tell them anything, and you know, they're I don't really remember what he says.
He talks his way out of everything, and like, it's perfect. He's perfect.
Yeah.
Nothing to say other than he is like the perfect mix of like smooth talking and creepy, because he's like implied that he's in a room with like they show he's in a room with an underage girl. Like, it's fucked. He is fucked.
But he's still somehow likable.
Yeah. Like, he's like, it's perfect. It's perfect.
It's absolutely perfect. Anyways, you know, Shadow goes back and he's like, I still have to like clean up Laura's house.
So he's packing up stuff, and the way they do it is really good, because there's a box on the bed from the corner that has all of the stuff that was with her when she died. And so he's packing up, and it shows him tipping up boxes, and it cuts to him looking at the box on the bed, but he's like, no, I'm not going to open it. And he goes back to doing stuff, and it cuts back to the box on the bed, like the box is watching him and tempting him. It's like the whole Pandora's box thing. So he opens it up, And he finds her wedding ring and he finds her phone.
And he opens her phone and he opens her conversation to his best friend, and there's a giant gross dick pic.
And then he looks up because there's been a framed photo from their wedding day on the wall, like on the dresser. And so he looks up from the dick pic, and now the dick pic is on the wedding, is it where the wedding photo was? And it's just like, you know, just showing his headspace.
So then Shadow and Wednesday go on a road trip. And on this road trip, Wednesday's like, we need to pick up a couple supplies. So, you know, he sends Shadow to Walmart.
So he's going through and he's like, what is, like, his list is weird. It's like romance novels, a bottle of vodka, cheese.
It's like, what is going on?
And he's going by and there's just this wall of TVs. And one of the TVs kind of like, hey, Shadow. And it's Lucy from I Love Lucy is talking. Hey, Shadow. And it's Gillian Anderson and she looks perfect.
Exactly like her.
And she has like the Camden's speech down and she's just like, hey, you know, like, technical boy, he screwed up. He underestimated you. I want you on my side, Shadow.
And so she's like tempting him to, like, you know, come onto their side.
I can pay you triple.
Give up Wednesday and,
yeah,
you know.
You want to see Lucy's tits?
That was probably the best line of all of that. Basically, she's like, yeah, you know, you want to be on the winning side.
And he's just like, nope. Finally, he has a reaction. So he goes to where Wednesday was and he brushes up against this guy who's leaving and he has like fire eyes and it's the Ifrit that we'll probably get reintroduced to later. But he sits down and he's like, okay, I Love Lucy on the TV was talking to me. I'm going crazy. And Wednesday's like, you can lose things that are worse than losing your mind. And I'm just like, oh my god, that's terrifying.
I believe it.
Yeah.
So they go on their way and they end up in Chicago. And in Chicago, there is a family living there who Wednesday knows. Basically, you find out that it's 3 sisters and this old man named Chernabog. And, you know, Chernabog is perfect in show way.
You made a really good point about Chernabog. And that Chernabog in the book is likable in a way.
He's not as aggressive as Chernabog in the thing. He's very, like, Chernabog in the book is very matter-of-fact and just kind of like, this is how things are. Nothing personal. He's good.
The way they set him up, he is like, there's just this underlying sense of malice. And so he's talking about how he worked in slaughterhouses. Pretty much verbatim from the speech he gives in the book about how there's like skill to killing and like skill to slaughtering cows, and how it used to be he had a hammer that he'd use to do it, but now there's a little device and you just hold it up to the head of the cow and it goes, and like everyone can kill now. No, even that requires skill. So he's not happy to see Wednesday. Like, Wednesday manages to win over the sisters pretty quickly, but Chernabog is like, no, why are you in my house? Get out of my house. Why are you here? I don't want to be dragged into your stupid again. But, oh no, you've been invited for dinner and you'll insult her if you leave, so you have to stay. So they have a super awkward dinner.
Where Chernabog's like being like not so subtly racist.
Yeah, that was really kind of well done, where it's just,
I can't remember exactly what he says, but you're like, oh.
I don't know how to describe it. It's just because what he's saying is he's so convinced. Think about people who are very convinced that they're like PC, but they're not. Like, there's like that ingrained just like prejudice, and it just like
it seeps in.
And so like the payoff is his last line.
Basically, as in the book, Chernabog challenges Shadow to a checkers game. Shadow's like, okay, and Wednesday's been trying to convince Chernabog that, you know, he needs his help and he needs to come to this meeting, but Chernabog's like, no, I don't want to do it. So Shadow's like, okay, well, let's see what I can do. So, you know, if I win, you come to this meeting. And Chernabog's like, okay. But if I win...
You get down on your knees in front of me, and I swing with my hammer. Right here. So, Shadow loses!
Yeah. Basically, Chernabog's last line is, it's a shame, you were my only black friend.
So that's the cliffhanger. And I get why they, like, kind of made him creepier. It's because they wanted to have that cliffhanger. Just to be like, oh my god, how are we gonna get out of this? Well, check out next week and we'll learn!
Yeah.
My other favorite moment was when Shadow is in the kitchen with the sisters, and he's like, I can help. And she's like, no, I'm cooking. And he's like, well, it smells good. She's like, the potatoes will be like soft and the meat will be like
grainy.
I'm a bad cook.
And so there's supposed to be 3 of these sisters.
We've seen 2.
I'm really excited for Zore Polichnaya.
The last one, yeah.
Yeah.
Other things that happen. Bilquis is just being Bilquis.
Still being Bilquis.
Still being Bilquis. We see her go to possibly a museum, and she looks at a statue, which is probably her, and then there's this, like, layout of this jewelry, and, like, this body kind of rises through.
So you can see how the jewelry went on.
Yeah. And I don't know if she's, like, wanting to steal it, but it's important to her for some reason.
Yeah, it's probably more like it's a connection to her past and
Yeah.
when she was worshipped.
I really liked Chernabog,
Me too.
but Anansi won the show.
Yeah. I have a feeling we might see him next episode.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited. I hope they age Anansi up a little bit because when we meet him, he's very kind of like what you'd imagine an old man into the jazz scene in New Orleans would be like. Who loves to tell stories and drink and smoke and have like a good time. But he's not very like concerned with a lot. Like he's a trickster god. He's not into politics so much. And I kind of like that version of Anansi. But like don't get me wrong, I fucking loved that opening. And so I hope they kind of like age him up and then maybe it'll be like, you know, his years spent, you know, in decline in America will have changed him into that kind of good time guy.
It's fun. It's good.
He's good.
So did you guys like the episode? Tell us what you thought. What were your thoughts on the opening? What were your thoughts on Chernabog? Do you still love Wednesday even though he's a monster? Because we do and it's bad.
You know it's bad.
So bad.
Tell us what you think, guys, and we will see you next week.